You're talking to her. Everything feels right. The vibe is good. She laughs at your jokes, touches your arm lightly. But suddenly she lowers her eyes. Her voice softens. Her posture shifts. It's subtle, but it's real. You just witnessed a hidden signal. One of those rare moments when a woman unconsciously communicates that she feels safe, seen, and is slipping into a more submissive, feminine energy. Most men miss this. They think submissiveness is about control or dominance. But true feminine submission isn't forced. It's given. And when it is, it doesn't scream. It whispers. Through body language, through micro expressions, through posture. In this video, I'll show you the secret physical cues women display when they're drawn to your masculine frame. No gimmicks, no games, just ancient dynamics playing out in the modern world. When a woman feels genuinely safe around you, emotionally and energetically, her body will naturally begin to soften. One of the first signs, eye contact changes. Instead of sharp, direct eye contact like in a debate or business conversation, she starts to glance down and then back up slowly. This isn't shyness, it's an ancient instinct. A downward glance signals deference. It's a subconscious cue of trust, a message saying, "You've got the frame, I don't need to fight for it." Now watch her shoulders. Are they relaxed? Does she tilt her head slightly to one side? That head tilt is a submission cue. It exposes the neck, one of the most vulnerable areas of the body. She's not aware she's doing it. But biology is. Her body is responding to presence, not words. And the more grounded you are, the more she relaxes into this polarity. But here's the catch. If you chase it, try to control it, or force it, it evaporates. Real masculine energy is stillness, not pursuit. You'll also notice changes in how she moves. Her gestures slow down. Her voice gets softer. She starts using more upward inflections, ending sentences like questions, seeking your validation without asking directly. These aren't conscious decisions. It's her nervous system attuning to yours, surrendering to the dominant rhythm. And then there's proximity. She'll find ways to be closer, standing slightly inside your space, brushing her arm against yours by accident, or sitting at an angle that opens her body toward you. Her legs might point toward you, even if her words are neutral. This is body truth. It can't lie. Now here's the twist. Submissiveness isn't weakness, it's trust. And trust is earned, not demanded. When a woman displays these cues, she's not becoming less, she's revealing more. She's showing you a side that's rarely seen, not because she's afraid of you, but because you're safe enough to be soft with. Don't misuse this gift. Don't try to perform. Just observe, breathe, hold the frame. The real test of your masculine presence is not how much you can chase, but how much silence you can hold without flinching. If this is hitting home, make sure to subscribe and tap the bell, because what's coming next might just shift everything. One of the clearest submissive signals is mirroring, when she unconsciously copies your body language. If you lean back, she leans back. If you scratch your chin, moments later, she might do the same. This isn't mimicry. It's attunement. It's her body syncing with yours, like two frequencies vibrating in harmony. Watch her eyes. When a woman is in her masculine, her gaze is sharp, searching, direct. But when she shifts into her feminine and trusts you, her eyes soften. They linger. She looks up at you through her lashes, sometimes breaking eye contact, and then returning, inviting, not challenging. You'll also notice she becomes more playful. Submissiveness isn't always silent. It can be cheeky. She might tease you lightly, make you work for her laugh, or exaggerate her reactions to test your groundedness. It's not about controlling you. It's about seeing if you can lead her without losing yourself. And if you fail, if you get reactive, explain yourself too much, or try to prove something, she'll pull back. Not because she's cruel, but because she can't trust a man who doesn't trust himself. Submissive body language isn't always loud. It's in the quiet shifts, the subtle invitations. For example, when she tucks her hair behind her ear while looking at you, she's not fixing her style. She's exposing her neck, one of the most vulnerable feminine zones, without even realizing it. Or notice how she positions her body. A woman who feels safe around you won't stand like a soldier. She'll soften her stance, angle her hips slightly toward you, maybe even shift her weight to one leg. It's her body's way of saying, "I'm open. I trust your presence." Sometimes she becomes physically smaller around you, not by shrinking, but by relaxing. She may lean into you during conversation, let her shoulder brush yours, or tilt her head downward when speaking. All unconscious signs that she sees you as the stable one, the anchor. But here's what most men miss. She's not submissive because you asked her to be. She becomes that way when your energy earns it. When your silence feels stronger than other men's shouting. When your calm doesn't crack under pressure. That's when her body begins to speak in a new language, one only the grounded will understand. One of the clearest submissive signals is eye contact, but not just any kind. It's the moment she locks eyes with you, then looks away quickly, only to look back again. It's not shyness. It's biological. That flicker of hesitation mixed with curiosity says, "I see your dominance, and I want to be seen by it." When a woman feels emotionally safe and intrigued by your presence, her pupils dilate, her blinking slows, and she enters a kind of trance when you speak. Even if she doesn't say much, her body is listening, hanging on your words, not because of what you're saying, but how you're being. Submissiveness isn't weakness. It's a response to power that doesn't need validation. Women don't surrender to force. They surrender to presence. And when you stop trying to impress her, to convince her, to chase her approval, that's when she leans in. You'll notice her breathing shift. Her voice lowers. Her movements become slower, more fluid. She mirrors your rhythm. That's her way of aligning, syncing. Not because you asked, but because your energy pulled her in, effortlessly. Now here's a signal most men ignore, how she places herself in relation to you. Not just proximity, but orientation. If her torso or knees point toward you, even when others are around, that's not random. That's primal alignment. Her body is prioritizing you. She might fidget with her jewelry, touch her neck, or adjust her clothes slightly when you enter the room. These aren't just nerves. They're subconscious grooming cues. The feminine instinct is activating, preparing to be perceived. Another one? She finds excuses to be near you without initiating conversation. Maybe she sits one seat away. Maybe she hovers at the edge of your group. She's giving you the space to lead, without chasing, without pushing. That's trust in your presence. But here's the twist. These cues vanish the moment you become reactive. If she senses you're scanning for signs of validation, if you try to force the interaction or show off, her energy pulls back. Not as punishment, but as correction. A subtle reminder to stay rooted. Submissive signals aren't invitations to dominate. They're invitations to remain grounded, A woman's submissive body language isn't always about softness. Sometimes it's in the way she lets down her guard around you. Think about it. Most women walk through the world armored. But if she starts letting you see her in vulnerable moments, without makeup, in silence, lost in thought, that's not laziness. That's intimacy. She stops performing. Her posture relaxes. She lets her eyes linger a little longer, or her voice drop into a lower, slower tone when speaking with you. These aren't signs of boredom. They're signs of presence. She's not trying to impress anymore. She's trying to connect. Now here's one of the rarest signs. When she starts mirroring your rhythm. Not just your words, but your breath, your gestures, even your walking pace. This is biological rapport. Her nervous system is syncing with yours. That's not manipulation. That's safety. And this syncing happens only when you're in your masculine. Still, certain, unfazed. Not scanning for approval. Not performing. Just being. When a woman feels your calm presence, she doesn't need to fill the space. She settles into it. There's a myth that submissiveness looks like weakness, but in reality, it takes incredible trust for a woman to relax into that state. And trust is earned, not demanded. You don't get it by telling her you're safe. You get it by being consistent, grounded, and emotionally non-reactive over time. She watches you closely, not your words, your energy. How do you respond when things go wrong? How do you carry yourself when no one's watching? Do you hold eye contact, or do you flinch under pressure? Here's a hidden submissive signal that most men miss. When she allows space between her words. Most people fill silence with noise. But a woman who's relaxed around you won't rush to fill the air. She lets there be space, because she knows you won't punish her for it. That kind of silence, that's sacred. That's when her feminine shows up fully, not guarded, not performative, but raw. But the minute you try to dominate that space, force the vibe, or show off your status, you lose it. She snaps back into alertness. Walls up. Testing begins again. The real test is whether you can hold presence without trying to control anything. There's another subtle gesture that speaks volumes, how she positions her hands when she's near you. A woman who feels safe and submissive won't cross her arms or fidget with her phone. She might rest her hand on the table, exposed, palm open. That's not random. That's a nervous system telling you, I'm not guarding myself right now. Most guys overlook this. They're focused on what she says. But what she says is often a mask. The body doesn't lie. Watch for her shoulder tension. Does it drop when you speak slowly, calmly? Does she sigh unconsciously when you pause and hold silence? These are primal cues. They go back to biology, to tribe, to survival. She's not thinking, I want to be submissive right now. Her body is saying, I feel safe to let go. But the moment you lean in too much, needy, approval-seeking, it reverses. Her body stiffens. Her voice shifts. She might even crack a joke or create emotional distance to reset the power dynamic. If you don't catch it, you'll think she's just not interested. But the truth is, you broke the safety. You tried to lead without presence. Presence isn't about being loud. It's about being grounded. It's the way you hold your space without trying to fill it with noise. And when you hold that space, she notices, without you saying a word. Another subtle but powerful signal, her gaze pattern. When a woman is in a submissive, receptive state, she won't hold dominant, locked eye contact. Instead, her eyes might drop momentarily after meeting yours. It's not shyness. It's a biological cue of yielding. She may glance at your mouth more often than your eyes. That's not random either. It's instinctive checking. Is he stable? Is he calm? Is his voice smooth and slow? In contrast, a woman testing you will look you dead in the eye, challenging, poking, almost provoking you. She's watching if you flinch, if your voice cracks, if you over-explain. She's not being cruel. She's measuring, subconsciously asking, is this a man I can trust to lead, or just another boy who needs validation? When you stay still, when your eyes stay soft but unfazed, when you don't rush to explain yourself, you pass the test. Not because you dominated, but because you remained centered. Another hidden cue lies in how she mirrors you, or doesn't. When a woman feels safe and open in your presence, her body unconsciously syncs with yours. If you lean back, she might lean slightly forward. If you speak slowly, her breathing may match your rhythm. This mirroring is not manipulation, it's resonance. Her nervous system is tuning itself to yours. But when she's unsure or resisting her own desire, she breaks that mirroring. She'll suddenly fold her arms, adjust her bag, glance away. These are micro breaks in connection, not because she's uninterested, but because she's afraid of how much she actually is. And again, your job isn't to fix her or chase. It's to remain relaxed, to allow her nervous system to regulate itself in your presence, not under your pressure. You see, dominance isn't posture, it's permission. It's the silent permission you give her to be soft, to drop her performance, to stop fighting her own nature. And most men will never understand this because they're too busy performing themselves. True masculine energy is not loud, it's not flashy, it's not arrogant. It's the opposite. It's calm, stable, and attuned. When she's around a man who holds that calm presence, her guard lowers, not because he seduced her, but because her body finally feels safe. She might laugh softer, her voice might get quieter, her pupils dilate, not in fear, but in openness. She may tilt her head slightly when you speak, not as a tactic, but because her biology is responding. These are not signs she's weak. These are signs she feels free enough to be feminine. And that only happens when the masculine energy across from her is grounded, not reactive, not needy, not seeking approval. And here's the paradox. The more you try to prove your masculinity, the more you lose it. Because masculinity isn't proven, it's remembered. It's something ancient in you that doesn't rise with effort. It rises when you remove everything fake. A submissive woman isn't looking for a master. She's looking for a man who has mastered himself. That's the test you're always taking, whether you realize it or not. Watch her when she walks beside him. Her steps might slow down, subtly matching his pace. Her hands might fidget less. Her breath gets deeper. It's like her entire nervous system exhales, even if she doesn't realize why. This is not mind games. This is primal safety. In the presence of grounded masculine energy, a woman doesn't need to overexpress or mask her feelings. She becomes stiller, more attuned. Her playfulness becomes natural, not forced. Her movements flow without calculation. That's because true masculine energy doesn't invade, it anchors. The greatest test of a man's presence is how a woman's body responds when he walks into a room, not in lust, but in safety. Does she close, or does she melt? And this has nothing to do with looks or charm, it's all about energy. Because a man who's emotionally sovereign doesn't seek to possess. He invites. He doesn't demand softness. He creates the environment where softness feels inevitable. That's when you'll see the quiet cues, the surrendered glance, the relaxed shoulders, the way she leans in without even realizing she's doing it. She might not even understand what's happening within her. It's not a logical shift. It's energetic. Her subconscious picks up on your steadiness, your self-trust, your internal clarity. And suddenly, the defenses she didn't even know she had start to dissolve. She doesn't need to interrupt the silence. She feels comfortable in it. She doesn't need to test or provoke because she feels the boundary is already there. Strong, unshakable, not rigid, but calm, like a tree rooted deep into the ground. That's why you'll notice her movements become smaller, yet more intentional. Her voice may soften, her tone more melodic. She might begin to mirror your breathing, your posture, even your stillness. It's her body's way of saying, I trust you to lead. And again, it's not about dominance. It's about polarity. Masculine stability gives rise to feminine fluidity. She blossoms not because she's told to, but because she's free to. Because in your presence, she's not being judged or tamed. She's being seen. This is the kind of submission most men never experience, because they're too busy trying to impress, to prove, to push. But true feminine surrender doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to presence. If she senses you're trying to get something from her, validation, affection, attention, her body closes. Her energy tightens. Even if she doesn't say it out loud, she'll begin to protect herself. And that protection looks like distance, sarcasm, coldness, or control. But when she feels that you are full already, not needing anything from her to complete you, she relaxes. She opens. She becomes playful, radiant, inviting. Not because she's trying to manipulate, but because she feels safe enough to be seen in her softness. In that safety, she can let go of the masculine shields she's worn to survive. She can drop the roles, the performances, the defenses, and she returns to her natural state, receptive, expressive, alive. One of the clearest signs of this shift is in her body language. Her gestures become slower, more fluid. She lingers longer in your presence. Her eyes soften. Her voice lowers. Her breath deepens. She starts mirroring your posture, subtly syncing with your rhythm, your tone, your energy. You might notice her leaning in when you speak, tilting her head to expose her neck, touching her hair, her lips, the rim of her glass. These aren't random movements. They're unconscious signals of trust and openness, a dance without choreography. But the key is, you can't fake your way into triggering this. If your calm is performative, if your groundedness is just a tactic, she'll feel it. Women are biologically wired to sense incongruence. It's not about what you do, it's about where it's coming from. That's why the most magnetic men don't chase, don't act cool, don't play games. They anchor themselves so deeply in their own presence, the feminine can't help but orbit around them. When a woman feels safe enough to enter her feminine fully, she begins to express herself more sensually, without it being overtly sexual. Her body loosens. Her hips sway more when she walks. Her laughter flows more freely. Her expressions become animated, playful, even childlike at times. This isn't regression. It's trust. It means she doesn't have to armor up. She doesn't have to perform strength or control. She can let her softness rise to the surface because she knows it won't be punished, judged, or taken advantage of. And that safety doesn't come from words. It comes from your nervous system. If your presence is still, non-reactive, and deeply rooted, she can feel it in the space between you. That's when the testing stops. That's when the game ends. That's when she lets go. But here's the paradox. She won't consciously tell you any of this. In fact, if you ask her directly, she might not even know why she feels drawn to you now more than ever. She'll just say, "I don't know. I feel calm around you." And that's the whole point. Her feminine doesn't want a checklist. It doesn't want a script. It wants to feel something real. That's why you can't fake presence. You can't mimic groundedness. You either are or you aren't. And when you are, everything about you changes. Your voice slows down. Your gaze deepens. Your movements become deliberate. You stop chasing her validation because you're not seeking to be enough. You're being enough. She notices it in the way you sit without fidgeting, in the way you listen without interrupting, in the way you hold silence like it's sacred, not awkward. These small, almost invisible acts, they speak louder than any lines you could ever deliver. Because the ultimate sign of a masculine man isn't how loud he talks or how much he shows off. It's how still he remains when the world around him isn't. And when she feels that stillness, not just hears about it, she begins to melt. Not out of submission, but out of recognition. She remembers what it's like to feel safe in someone else's presence, to exhale, to lean in. That's not dominance, that's depth. So when she pulls away, don't panic, don't chase, don't fill the space with noise or explanations. Just be still. Let your presence speak louder than your words. Because if she's truly testing your masculinity, she's not looking for your reaction. She's searching for your foundation. And if that foundation is firm, she'll feel it. She'll feel the calm in your silence, the steadiness in your detachment, the quiet strength that says, "You're free to go, but I won't collapse if you do." And that, right there, is what brings her back. Not the begging, not the proving, not the grand gestures. Just the solid, unshakable essence of a man who doesn't flinch when love gets tested. It's not a game. It's not reverse psychology. It's simply truth. And the truth is magnetic. So be the man who stays centered. Be the man who doesn't need her to complete him, but welcomes her to join him. That's how you make her regret losing you without saying a word.